Interesting times. 69 years I've waited for this meeting. Though I've known about Peter for maybe 50 years, I think, since I first discovered that my dad had been married before he met my mum. My dad had got a son called Peter. She obviously knew him because he'd been to stay with my mum and my dad just before I was born. August the 13th, I think, is Tuesday. The plane's due in at about 5 to 6. Terminal 4, Heathrow. He's coming from Abu Dhabi. They had emigrated to Australia in the 70s. That's as much as I know.
You must be Peter.
I am.
Peter Ernest Page. He was born in 1941 to my dad and his first wife. And I discovered that he existed when I was about 15 or 16.
About 3.5 years ago, I said to Lisa, it's $500, have a look, family tree.
What I did do was write to every Peter Page in the Birmingham area, because he was born in Birmingham, every Peter Page in the telephone directory in the Birmingham area, and say, I'm looking for this person. Do you happen to know who he is?
So in just a few seconds' time, you're going to meet Michael for the first time.
Yes, unbelievable,
Well,
really.
you've had a long journey just now, haven't you?
35 hours.
35 hours.
My bum's as sore as a...
Okay, Peter, welcome to Heathrow. I expect you're ready for a good old British cup of tea?
Not really, a beer.
A beer? Okay, well, let's see what we can do.
Back of the tea. I don't drink tea, I drink beer. There he is.
I've seen photographs of him, I've talked to him, but I don't know what, sort of actually just to be in each other's space. I'm just glad that we're going to have this opportunity to see each other.
Hey, you reckon?
So you managed to get to John all right?
Yes, well, I would have been about 10 minutes earlier, but the carousel broke.
I suppose you're a bit apprehensive in case you don't get on. I mean, you've got to live with a stranger, haven't you?
He's going to stay with us for 2 or 3 days and we'll get to know each other a bit better and share a couple of pints together, I'm sure.
I asked him if he'd like a cup of tea.
No way.
You want a drink?
A bloody beer, a vodka or a beer. Can't, at least half a dozen.
They got bars.
Yeah, so you've got a posh brother.
Very posh. Oh my God.
Is he a...
All my kids have got these new cars. Well, this is a smart one, isn't it?
Hi. As you can tell, we're in the car.
I'm going to be worried about you.
I know. Well, we're in the car, and Peter's desperate for a drink, and we can't find a pub. So we're I know. So
Okay.
it's gonna be a while,
Oh,
yeah.
nice, because the sun's shining. Normally it's bloody miserable, isn't it? It's great.
I think tomorrow it's raining.
That's what I mean. Should have come last week, it was 36.
It's about 2 years since Michael made contact with you.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it actually.
She said, there's a Michael Page looking for somebody. And then she got into contact with Michael, and that was it. Because I thought Michael was a sister. And I ended up in a children's home in Harrogate. And then one day she said, your dad wants to see you. I only saw him twice. He pissed off when I was about 4. And he never paid bugger all.
Well, he was a bit like that. Promised the earth.
Yeah.
Delivered very little.
I was told that Ernie had a daughter. And it turned out that he had Michael first and then his daughter afterwards. So there you go, it's unreal.
Yeah. There you go.
Just a job.
He knows very little about his dad, and I'll be able to give him a bit more information. I'm thinking that you might have a sleep in the morning.
Nah.
He's been a regular visitor to the UK.
I'll
show
you
the sights. He has an interesting story. As I say, he spent a lot of his childhood in children's homes. This is what I've said. Hi Lisa, picked up Dad from the airport and he didn't want a cup of tea but wanted a drink. You wouldn't believe how difficult it is to find a pub near Heathrow. Anyway, we're sitting here having a beer and a yarn. He says he's fine and hopes you have a good birthday on the 23rd.
Lovely.
Is that all right? So send that off. There you go. That's gone.
I lead, he don't give a stuff.
Does she do WhatsApp?
I don't know.
It'll be interesting if nothing else. We might decide, oh, we can't stand each other. I don't think that'll be the case. I think we'll find that we'll have something to talk about, and it'll be a great time. My dad was divorced, and so my mum was his second wife. But he had divorced, and I discovered that with his first wife he'd had a child.
And the picture you've seen, that's the suit that he bought me.
So was that the last time you saw him?
Yeah, I was 10, yeah.
That was the last time when that picture was taken?
Yeah,
You've never seen him
never seen him
since,
again.
okay.
But I was told that he had a girl. But it turns out when I saw Michael, now he was the first one.
And in my 20s, I think, I sort of started to see whether I could find him. And it wasn't really until the whole internet genealogy thing started to get off the ground that I was able to explore that a bit more.
3.5 years ago, I said to Lacey, it's $500, have a look, family tree. Because I just wondered if the sister lived in, our sister lived in London. Anyway, she went through it and we spent the $500, and then she got busy at work, and 2 years ago she said to me something, and I said, well, here's another 200. I said, see. So she's going through all the things and whatever, and all of a sudden she said to me, there's a Michael Page looking for a Peter Page.
So I remember sending this blind email to somebody saying, I see you're interested in Peter Page, son of Ernest Page. I'm interested in him as well because I'm also a son of Ernest Page. Do you know who he is, where he is, or whatever?
And so I'm not really these things. Lisa did it all. And then she emailed Michael.
And looked at my emails late that night. There was a reply. And I remember how it started. The opening words were, oh my God, I have been looking for you for months. Peter Page is my dad. And he has been trying to find you.
And then she emailed Michael. Then Michael emailed her back, and that's how it happened.
Peter and I first met when we were children in Princess Alice School in Sutton Coldfield. We come very close, and we've been close ever since. I didn't know he had a brother, and all the years I've known him, never been mentioned, and perhaps Peter didn't know. You going in? Yeah. Oh, wait, you're Ollie. Hello, mate. Going good? This is Michael.
Peter, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Nice to see you.
And you?
When I was talking to Rowley earlier on, he said you had to look after yourself in the children's home.
Yeah.
And so
Somebody want to punch you?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think to some extent, life happens, and you
get on with it.
and you get on with it.
Yeah.
So I think we're similar in that.
You know, me and Rolly have always been friends, though, even in school, you know.
When he's finally gone back to Australia and you finally arrived back in Australia and all this is becoming a memory, what will you tell your grandchildren about this?
Or Paige will say to me, how you go, Grandad? And it'll be, can I have a sausage roll? And I'll say to them, beautiful, really nice people. They say to me, how come you going away for 5 weeks? I said, because I've just found half a brother.
Half a brother.
Well, I wouldn't say it now, you know.
I think the big thing about you is life happens and you get on with it. I mean, I think that's the thing I've taken away from a couple of days together. And I can see my dad in you, our dad in you. And actually, I saw that very quickly at the airport when we first met. And the pictures that I'd seen of you beforehand, I didn't see Dad in those pictures at all. But when I met you face to face,
They see Lee in me, my son Lee.
Yeah.
Like the way you walk.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think even some of your mannerisms, and I said when you gave me that piece of paper with your writing on it, I said this is extraordinary because it's not the same as I remember my dad's writing, but there were similarities about it.
Well, my writing changes. If I haven't got the right glasses on, I scribble. if I put these glasses on, I write nice and neat.
Well, I was intrigued. So I think there's lots of things. I don't know whether they're things that sort of just a
follow
born,
on, maybe.
but
It's a bit like some kids look a lot like their parents, don't they?
Yeah.
Like,
and our dad died when he was just in his early 60s. So he died in 1974. So he was quite young. So actually, you see, so you're older, and I'm older than our dad was when he died.
when he died.
So you, I can see Dad in you, but an older Dad. In other words,
yes,
you
yeah.
moved on.
Yeah,
you
I
moved
know what you
on.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, if you don't know somebody,
Yeah.
you can't really have feelings, can you? I think he must have been a bit of a bum, really, to leave alone with the kid, but that's only my thoughts.
I
I can't really say too much because I knew what I told you earlier about. I saw him when I was 3 to 4, twice. Once when I was 10.
Yeah.
And that's the whole of my experience.
And I've got that picture of you, which I've got it on my phone somewhere. So
I saw it yesterday, I think.
So when you get back to Lisa, Peter,
Yeah.
and she says,
What was he like?
Yeah, what was he like? Go on.
I say very nice. He's a gentleman. He gets a bit uptight sometimes, but
He
you
gets
know,
uptight.
well, you do get a bit. Well, I think you frustrated maybe.
Oh,
Not frustrated. Nasty.
and we shared political views, didn't we?
We do, yeah. Political. I'm conservative, and I like Boris, and I like Trump.
Why are you looking at me? You should be looking at him when you say that.
But
And we've got Lisa onto WhatsApp, haven't we? We had a WhatsApp
yeah.
call, so we.
Over breakfast yesterday morning, and Michael says to me, "Yeah, look," and he puts it on there, and Lisa's going, "Hi, Dad."
So that's good that you
Yeah.
had a bit of technology.
Exactly.
Michael, you'll have your
He's all right with me, and I'm all right with him. So, yeah, no, it was.
So it's been a good.
yes, very,
good
very,
journey.
very good. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not over. You've got a brother now.
Well, I got a brother. I got a half brother in bloody Cleveland, Western, or if he's still alive. But yeah, no, really, really, really good. You know.
Just do a complete turnaround so you do with that wall. So you have to work when you're on these starts. It's quite something. Read where it says home.
There's a sense of completeness, I think. I'd always wanted a brother. I have a sister, and we're very close. But I'd always wanted a brother. And I think when I was younger, often my friendships were brother-like friendships. I wanted people that I felt that close to. I don't know why, but that's what I wanted. And I'm, glad that I've got. And over the course of my life, I've had friends who've been like brothers to me. And there was this sense of just wanting to complete the story.
Now you can